When I decided to pursue my MBA through the online route, I did so for a number of reasons. More flexibility, more cost effective depending on the university. I can continue to work and produce an income. However, there's one element that is generally cited as one of the more important reasons that anyone does an MBA program, and that is networking. The question here is networking possible in an online MBA? My presumption before beginning the program was no, but it didn't really matter to me because that wasn't something I cared all that much about. Where I was in my career at the time and what my goals were, the networking piece wasn't that important. So again, didn't have an expectation prior to the program, so in my mind, it was fine. Much to my surprise, my presumptions were completely wrong. It actually turned out to be way easier to make meaningful connections, whether it be virtual or in person. Yep, I said in person, even though it's an online program. But I'm gonna share with you a few key points about networking in an online MBA so that whether you're exploring to do an online MBA in the first place or you're at this point just exploring different schools, you'll know what to look for to get the best networking experience possible. Now, before I walk through that, I must mention that networking in an online program is generally more difficult than an in-person or on-campus MBA. You have to be a lot more proactive about it. So let's talk about some of those pointers. Point number one is student and alumni base. My first recommendation is to find a program that has a good sized current student base and/or alumni base. You'll generally have better luck with universities that have been around for a longer time and ones that have strong reputations. I attended the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, which is a top 100 globally ranked university. It has a really strong reputation around the globe. It's been around since 1867. The business school alone has 76,000 plus alumni, and the current student base in the MBA program alone is, I believe, last I checked, over 5,000. So that's a lot of students. Now, there's no right number, but I think anything around or above 1,000 is generally good size, something you should maybe shoot for. Really though, it's just another point of comparison. So it's not the end all be all, but again, the more the merrier. Every alumni, and especially every current student in the program, is another potential person you could get to know and network with. And the more people, the better the likelihood that you'll come across someone that's in a job role or a career or industry that you yourself are interested in. Point number two is local meetups. This ties in nicely to my previous point because the more people there are in a program, the higher the likelihood of alumni or current students living in the city or near the city that you live in. The likelihood is made better if you happen to live in or near a major city, because obviously there's just a higher concentration of people there. Makes sense. If you live in the absolute middle of nowhere, this may be a little bit more of a challenge, but I'll talk about a workaround here in a sec. But in my program, there are students who are proactive about setting up these meetups. So sometimes it's student-led, sometimes it's led by the school, and the school sponsors regional meetups, assuming that there's enough interest and participation in students in the area. I happen to live near the Austin, Texas area, and at the events that I've gone to, there have been anywhere from 15 to 50 people that attend these events. So it can be a really good turnout. And these aren't necessarily all the people that are in the area in the program or previously in the program. These just happen to be the ones that attend at that point in time. So again, the bigger the current student base or alumni base, the better the experience will be for local meetups. Point number three is major school-sponsored events. Outside of local meetups, you'll want to see and explore what the school has to offer in terms of bigger gatherings, perhaps on campus. In my program, they would host something that they called iConverge, where they invite students from around the world that are in this program to come to campus for a 4-day extended weekend, completely optional as the travel expenses are borne by the student. But what you can expect is some combination of class, also expert-led subject matter talks, like a TED Talk kind of format, and a lot of social events. So we would do a sporting event, go catch a football game, go to local restaurants, or anything else that might have been in the area. This is an opportunity to meet classmates that you might have already been working with virtually, and you might be able to meet them for the first time. So that's a really cool experience to have. And for those of you that live far away from a major city and you can't attend those local meetups, this would be an option because generally these are fewer and far between. They're a much bigger deal and you get a lot more attendance. So I believe, I don't even know what the number was, but I want to say 1,000, 2,000 people attended the most recent iConverge. It's a crazy number, and that's grown every year. So the social aspect of it, the amount of people you can meet is unreal. Now, outside of those types of events that are hosted on campus, a lot of programs will also do or offer the option for some kind of immersion trip, or at least that's what this program called it. But if you're in the US, think of it as an international trip that some business schools offer where, and of course this program is global, so international, maybe, if it's in the US, maybe it's international to other people, of course. But the trip consists of meeting at a major city somewhere in the world, and they usually try to spread around the different regions, so North America, South America, Europe, and Asia as well. And this trip involves a business case or a project. It also involves meeting with local companies there. That's typically what you're working on as far as your business case. They may have a business challenge and they're walking you through how they go about their business operations. You'll also learn how they run their business within the context of that country or that city, within those laws and regulations. And you'll also get a sense for the culture that they operate in. But as it relates to networking, again, this is another opportunity where for 1 to 2 weeks, you are basically together the entire time. You're getting to connect with some of these folks that you wouldn't have otherwise had the opportunity to do. So, and especially in this format, again, it's a lot of fun to go out and do this sort of thing and make those connections and have that experience together. Point number 4 is social media. Now, I could have put this first because it's the easiest networking tool in any online program. All of them, I would imagine, have something. I thought the other points were a little bit more interesting, but coming back to social media, what my program used was Workplace. So this is Facebook-owned property, or I guess Meta now, but it looks like Facebook, but it's designed for organizations, or in this particular circumstance, for the university. Once you get accepted to the program, you get all your credentials figured out, you get access, and you are able to create an account in Workplace. And this is where you can start getting involved and get engaged with other students through this platform. There's usually some kind of interest group, so even outside of school and professional, there's interest groups that if you enjoy coffee, then there's a group for coffee. If you enjoy soccer, there's a group for soccer. But there's also a lot of discussion around business and around some of the topics that you cover in the MBA program. So there's a lot of discussion, a lot of dialogue going on. There's also usually, in our case there was, but maybe an opportunity to be in the student council. So again, there's a lot of ways to network, and again, this does require you to be proactive, and it requires you to be engaged and post a lot if you're doing this completely online. But it can be done, and in a lot of cases with the classes, it's all done on Zoom. Or whatever other video chat platform that you're using. But again, there's a lot of opportunities here. You'd be surprised what can be done just virtually. And the platform also happens to be a good place to schedule and coordinate the meetups that I was referring to earlier. So again, the opportunity to network is absolutely there, more than I had ever considered possible. And I've been now to many of the meetups, and well, I would say maybe most of the meetups that have happened here locally. So again, it's been a great experience for me. Now, if you want to learn about my full experience with this program, you can check out these 2 videos up above. I did a multi-part series on my experience. So make sure to check that out. And if you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and make sure to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you.